Hello everyone, I'm Jeff Weisenberger, Editor-in-Chief of Modern Steel Construction, AISC's monthly magazine, and we are here at NASCC, the Steel Conference in Denver, Colorado. I'm sitting here with Gian Rassati, better known as GA, who is one of this year's AISC Special Achievement Award winners. The Special Achievement Awards provide special recognition to folks who have demonstrated notable achievements in structural steel design, construction, research, or education. GA is an associate professor at the University of Cincinnati. He was recognized for this achievement award for research on the behavior and design of bolted steel connections and major contributions to the latest design specifications, including the the RCSC specification. So thank you very much for being here, GA.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes. Congratulations on the award as well.
Thank you very much. That was an unexpected award, and that made it all so much better.
I'm sure. Yes. Thank you. Well, let's talk a little bit. I just want to ask some personal questions. We can talk about bolts as well and education.
Absolutely.
But I understand you're from Italy.
I am.
Yeah. Where?
My hometown is a little ski village in the Alps, in the northeastern corner of Italy, not very far from the border with Austria and Slovenia.
Okay.
And so I'm here in the United States, and I've been for 22 years at this point. By randomness of life, I guess, is the best definition of it. I was working on my master's thesis that involved the simulation of bolted, partially restrained composite connections.
Okay.
And so I had an opportunity to contact Roberto Leon, that had done all those tests in Minnesota, and he sent me his data, and I stayed in touch with him. I kept going on. I sort of enjoyed doing research, so I stayed on my for my PhD. And I saw Roberto at one of the European committee meetings, and he mentioned that he had tests incoming at Georgia Tech, where he was, and asked me if I was interested in coming and helping out. And so I came to the United States and worked with Professor Leon, with whom I was very pleased to be sharing the stage. This morning he got another award, the IJR award, as well, and so they became my second family basically, and so that was really awesome. I've been, it's a trite expression that we stand on the shoulder of giants, I guess, but we really do. I mean, there was Jerry Ajar that just got inducted into the National Academy of Engineering was the next person I worked with, because I went back. After Georgia Tech, I got a call from Jerry Ajar asking me if I was interested in a postdoc at the University of Minnesota.
Okay.
And I said yes, and so that's basically how I stayed in the U.S.
Okay.
And after that, I applied for a job and landed in Cincinnati.
All right. Well, that sums it up pretty well. So how long have you been in Cincinnati then?
Basically since 2002, so 20 years.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, I have a couple of specific questions about Cincinnati here towards the end. Okay, this is a very simple one. What's new with bolts?
Oh, what's new with bolts? All kinds of things are going on with bolts. There's always something brewing, I guess, in the industry, which is awesome, which is part of the pleasure of doing research together in collaboration with the steel industry, because there's always something new, something different to be investigated, some new idea to come up with. In the last probably 5 to 7 years, there were two major types of bolts that surfaced, and we actually had the opportunity to do all the research work, or most of the research work associated with them. So we're always interested in seeing new things, and there's always new folks coming up with new ideas. Blind bolts, things that can be done without holding one side of the connection, and so you can tighten it. Better ways of tightening bolts, better materials, better coatings. There's always advancements going on in these topics.
Okay. And as far as teaching, so you've been at Cincinnati for 20 years or so.
Yes.
What are your current courses?
I teach a slew of different courses, really. I occasionally teach steel design, but that's my good friend Jim Swanson that takes the brunt of that load. I teach structural dynamics, earthquake engineering, finite element analysis. What else do I teach? A lot of the undergraduate analysis classes for all the undergraduate students. So I stay quite involved in teaching. It's I always say that 50% of my time is spent doing teaching, 50% is doing research, and
Sure.
50% doing service. But yeah, so there's a lot of activities going on.
Sure. So in 20 years, I mean, roughly a generation or so, do you think college students have changed over that generation, or do you think teaching has changed?
Yes, I do. College students have changed, and I need to preface my answer, I suppose, by saying that I also changed. I guess I'm 20 years
Good
older,
point.
so I may be getting more cranky and curmudgeonly and as I get older.
It happens to all of us.
Right, but the relationship that I had with students that were 7, 8 years younger than me when I started is different now. They still are the same age,
Right.
but I'm not 8 or 10 or 15 years older than they are at this
Right.
point. So it's tough to separate the observation of how students are from my evolution or my involution or however we want to call it.
Sure.
There. But my impression is that students nowadays seem to be more focused on the goal, and unfortunately maybe a little less so on education. And so we need to find new ways every time to provide them with the tools they need to actually become successful.
Sure.
in the profession. And so because there's just the goal of let me know what check boxes I need to check in order to get my degree is not going to make you a good engineer.
Right.
At that point. And so the continuous challenge is to find ways to motivate students to actually want to actually learn more, to be more involved. And I swear they're not paying me here, but I would really like to put a plug for AISC and how well you actually deal with students and how well you do for students. Just the fact that students can come to the conference basically for free, almost making money
Sure.
out of coming to the conference and meeting all these people and these guys. I think that the AISC really does it the right way.
Right. Thank you. That's good. That's nice of you to say. Yeah. No. Absolutely. It's good to have obviously, but your.
I'll wait for a check in the mail later. But
Right. we'll keep you posted. But yeah, no, it's good to get the classroom experience and then actually be able to come to a show like this and actually see people who've been in the profession for a while.
It really makes a big difference, I think, and and the fact that you're not looking at students as a source of income,
Right.
At least not right now, maybe later, but now it's just a resource to develop and
Right.
to do well for. I think I really like that. It's like I'm totally enamored with the approach.
Well, good. Yeah. No, that's nice to hear. When it comes to students, like kind of at the, we're talking about students that are already in the process of getting a degree and then going out to the world, and becoming designers, fabricators, what have you. When you're thinking, do you have any, advice or thoughts on talking to students that are considering a career in the steel industry, whether it's as an engineer or some other area?
I must say that it's been a blast working with everyone involved in the steel industry. It's always interesting. It appeals to any kind of taste as well. There's the rigorous work. There's the interesting hands-on work that can be done. There are the super cool problems to be solved. There are the basic things that need to be solved and need to be done. There is the ultimate satisfaction of being able to point out at something that has been done based on your work,
Right.
and that many people use, be that a bridge or a building or even a sign or an awning. And I always think that that's what attracted me to engineering in the first place, I suppose. But really, I really think that working within the steel industry has been a pleasure for the last 20 years. And I look forward to do 20 more years of
Very
that,
good.
I hope.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, 20 years at the University of Cincinnati. So what do you have some thoughts about the city itself, or the other things that you've particularly grown to love about it?
So the city of Cincinnati is interesting. It's a nice place to live. The cost of living is not crazy, so
Right.
it's actually pretty affordable. But it really, what I typically tell visitors or candidates who interview for positions is that it is a small, big city. You can find basically anything you find in a big city, including traffic.
Of course.
But
It's everywhere.
it's still very small, very manageable, and very livable. I'm Italian, as we said, so I appreciate good food. And there are a lot of nice restaurants in Cincinnati, and so I'm a carnivore, so there are really top-notch steakhouses around, so I'm a pretty happy camper around that.
Sure, good to hear. Well, okay, so now that we're talking about Cincinnati cuisine, maybe you can explain to folks what Cincinnati chili is, and
I'm not sure I can explain to folks what Cincinnati chili is. My wife prepares Indiana-style chili at home,
I've never heard of this
she
one.
doesn't know that one. But occasionally I eat it. I don't eat it, I must confess, I don't eat it 3, 4, 5 ways. Because I'm particular about spaghetti. I like my spaghetti cooked the Italian way, let's say that. But I occasionally eat it on cheese cones or something like that.
Okay.
It's possibly an acquired taste. It's different from what people expect. So I don't know. Chili connoisseurs. You get into Cincinnati. There's a battle between different chili makers.
Right.
It's not
right.
just it's the West Side versus East Side. It's East Side. It's insert brand here versus insert brand there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just the chili style, it's just who's making it. So it's a very particular topic. And I like to not touch it with a 10-foot pole because
Right.
I wouldn't want to be run out of town or...
Right, you'd please this one restaurant, the other one, and say, how dare you.
Yeah,
but,
I
right.
grew up. I'm not touching that one.
Yeah, I was going to say, the thing about Cincinnati chili is it involves spaghetti, which is kind of
Right.
When I first heard that, I was taken aback a little bit, but there we are.
Yeah, imagine me, but yes.
Right, exactly. Okay, one more question about Cincinnati.
Sure.
Will Joe Burrow bring Cincinnati a Super Bowl championship at some
He got
point?
close this time.
He was very close.
There's promise. There's certainly promise. There's excitement in town, which surprisingly, excitement never quite died down, even in the 10 years where things weren't so good,
Right.
to use an euphemism. But the town was crazy in the last year. It was really nice to see. We used to have a few players living in our neighborhood, but that was the pre-Burrow
Gotcha.
era, and so we don't have that feedback anymore. I can't give you any insight anymore. But that's something that remains to be seen. I mean, I'm open to excitement. We'll see how it goes.
I like that's a good philosophy.
As an Italian that really enjoys football.
Right.
Football, not soccer.
Not American
I enjoy
football, but
soccer as well,
football,
but
right.
no, I do enjoy football a lot. Seeing that level of play and that level of excitement in town, and it's been a good year for Cincinnati. We've had our Bearcats that made it to the
went to the playoffs.
the
Yeah,
playoffs,
that's true. Mhm.
And for being a basketball university, we did pretty well in football.
Right.
Not so well in basketball this year, but there's always next year.
Right, exactly. You could say that about a lot of teams. There's always next
Yes.
year. Okay, well then one last question, and I'm sure this could turn into a very long answer. But who, as an Italian, as a football fan, who's your team back in Italy?
Oh, soccer, you mean?
Soccer,
Right,
or
well,
that
that's
football,
soccer.
yeah.
My team in Italy is easy. It's Juventus.
Okay,
Yes,
Very
that's
good.
an easy answer.
yeah, perfect.
It was
Okay.
my dad's team, and so it's easily done.
Very good. Well, thank you, Jay. I
Oh,
really
thank you.
appreciate it, and
Thank you for your
congratulations
time.
on the award.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.